once I got myself situated in Colin, I talked to Russ, Horse, Keito, Tigger. One of the Ukrainians actually spoke English, and he was one of the guys that was from our company, just not directly with Chosen, but he was still part of our unit. He basically gave me a rundown that they had a go-to mechanic, and they were going to try and retrieve the bodies of Serge and Ethan. But he'd just never been there before, so he was asking me what the layout of it was. And so I got a piece of paper and a pen and drew out the position, kind of my brief recollection of how to get there. I wasn't 100% sure because I had only been there once, and when we did go for the infill, we had a ground guide, Ukrainian, that helped us get there. So I wasn't exactly 100% how to get there, but I drew out a layout of the position above the ground and explained to him that inside the bunker there's a hole. You have to go down into that hole, and it's essentially a tunnel that goes to a nearby cellar, and that's where the bodies of Ethan and Serge were.
So at that point, I moved my two guys, which Keito and a guy by the name of Taylor, who are in mechanic now with two Ukrainians, and then there's 4 Ukrainians over at Sigun. And we sent a search party looking for Patrick. The search party got immediately hit with FPVs. They still made it to the building where we had last put Patrick, but Patrick was not there. We're not sure what actually happened there with that. If he tried to crawl back or if he got buried under rubble.
Keito and Taylor worked their sort of plan out with the Ukrainians on getting to mechanic. What was going on with Sigun, I still didn't fully understand the exact picture of what was going on the battle space, because for the past 24 hours or so, we had no communications with Sigun. And from the time that we lost communication to when I show up at the position, that's for, and seeing Russ and Horse, that was all that time in between. There's no information on what was going on, if the position had been lost and occupied by the Russians, or if it was essentially gray zoned. Didn't really have any idea.
The decision was made to assault Sigun. The reason being that if the Russians were able to keep that as a foothold, they could move guys down that side of the road, and it would basically cut off, 10 or 15, depending on how far they went back. It would be at minimum 10 positions. At most, they could have cut off like 15 Ukrainian positions, and that would have put, I don't know, 50 to 60 guys, they'd have been screwed. So we're guiding Keito and Taylor plus the Ukrainians in using a drone. They frag this bunker, and then Keito goes to turn the corner and go into the bunker and just gets shot. Like, you can just see the rifle fire coming from the bunker entrance. You just see him drop down into the bunker that the Russians were in. I was like, well, fuck, now what?
I was a point man, and then it's pretty dark. I throwed non-stop, like a handmade grenade. And then I got shot, well, I don't know how many, but I got shot many rounds. I feel pain everything. And then my other teammate thought maybe I was dead. I was in the only me in the Russian bunker, but I have to kill everybody, destroy everything, because no choice. I used like my light and by left hand, and then shooting rifle by right hand. And sometimes like left hand is light, and then right hand is grenade. Finally, I can hear enemy screaming like, okay, finally my grenade is hit. My grenade hit like oil can or gas can, diesel can, I don't know, gasoline something, gasoline tank something, and then fucking big explosive, boom. Oh my goodness. And then I felt very like hot, but absolutely everybody died. It's fucking big explosive. But my rifle is the fucked up by fucking big explosive, and then I have no weapon, just myself. And then I could leave from underground bunker, and finally I can put my tourniquet, and I lost my conscience.
I didn't know it at the time, but what happened is Keito was shot center mass like 6 or 7 times into his plate carrier. He survived. When he fell into the Russian bunker, he then engaged the Russians while he was in the bunker with the Russians, killing the 4 Russians that were in there. After he killed them, he passed out, probably from blood loss or just whatever.
Eventually, one of the times they got told, Russ and Tigger, to try and go out together to see if they can try and cover more area as quickly as possible to try and find Patrick's body. And they went up, and then probably within a couple minutes after they left, you could hear like the small explosion, and then Tigger comes running down, and he's saying, I'm hit, and he comes up to me, and you can see blood from his lower leg. And so I was like, all right, well, let's just cinch a tourniquet on there real quick. It was a good size hole, but it didn't necessarily damage anything major like an artery or a nerve. But set him down, just kind of let him chillax, and we were still waiting for the evacuation team. So I was like, all right, might as well just get comfortable, just check on him periodically, make sure he's doing all right. Because of the state with Horace and Tigger now being wounded, it would have been difficult for all of us to travel when you've got so many wounded. And so it was decided that since Russ was the worst, these guys would just take Russ and get him back to get evacuated as quick as possible. Probably a couple hours later, it was still dark out, one of the Ukrainians in the position, I'm assuming, got told he had to help us get to the next position back, because I'm pretty sure he was probably like the newest, youngest ranked guy. So we're getting our bags on, collecting all our weapons and stuff like that, and I grabbed Tigger. And from this position, you had to, because it was off to the side of the only like main road in this town, it was pretty easy to know to where it's like you leave, you just make a turn, go to the road, and then you get on the road and just go west. And that was one of like the kind of rules. You could stick to the road, you'll be slightly exposed, but you can see all the mines are going to be surface laid. So risk reward type of thing. But if you're going to travel off the road, try and go rubble pile to rubble pile, stay on as much rubble as you can, because that's going to be safer than walking through a field. That was kind of our, you could say, SOP, but also our kind of mindset. And the Ukrainian is standing there, and he's just kind of standing, like looking around. He's like, yo man, like, can we fucking beat feet, get the fuck out of here? Like, let's go. Like, like, why are we standing here? And then he just starts walking through the fields, and I was like, bro, like, no. And it's like, tried, like yelling at him, like, yo, mine, like, mine? And he's just like, just starts spitting off Ukrainian at me. He's like, bro, I don't know what the fuck you're saying, but mine? And he's just like, divide. It was like, oh fuck, man, we're all gonna die in a minefield. And so he just leads us through the field, and we're just going west. And I'm helping Tigger walk because of the shrapnel that went into his ankle. We kind of veer off closer to the road, and then we're on this rubble pile, and then he just stops, and then he's just looking around in circles again, was like, bro, like, do you know where the fuck we're going? You know, this position that we were told that we had to go to, I've never been there before, so I had no idea, you know, where it was, what it looked like, because the state of the area, it's your positions aren't like clearly just obvious, you know, like this is a bunker and, you know, this is a building that we are utilizing. Usually it's just some shanty door in a pile of rubble, and that you just have to kind of know where it is. So I felt bad for the guy that it seemed like he was just a poor sucker that drew the short straw that had to take us back, but he also had no idea where this position was. And so it was literally just the most comical circle jerk of just all of us just standing there like looking at each other, you know, like, where the fuck do we go, man? And so he just starts blabbering off in the radio, and you know, I have no idea what he's saying, and you know, just sitting there with our dicks in our hands, just staring at each other, and just watching this Ukrainian yell into the radio, and just this pissing match going on. And then eventually, just probably like maybe 150 meters, maybe 100 meters to our west, you just see AK fire shooting straight up in the air. And it's like, well, you know, I'm not the smartest guy, but I'm going to assume that's our signal to where we have to go. And so just tap the guy is like, you know, like, look over there. And he's like, ah, yeah, davai, davai. And it's like, yes, davai. Okay, let's go. And so we just start going. But we just hung out there for a little bit, just waited for, there's going to be another Ukrainian team that's going to meet us at the position that we were now at. And they were going to take over and guide us to the next rear position. And so we just had to sit there and wait for them to arrive. They showed up probably about 20 to 30 minutes of sitting there, but then we had to wait like another 30 minutes for basically the all okay, because by this point, you know, the sky was just congested with drones, and you couldn't tell, are they Ukrainian drones, are they our drones, are they Russian drones? And so it was pretty much just sitting there waiting till it was deemed safe enough to move. Just before we left, that's when Ryan got a hold of me, and he said, hey man, on your way back to Lubomynka, yell for Serge and see if you can find him, because he's gone missing. And when he said that, it was like, man, like, you've got to be kidding me. Definitely like another punch in the gut to where I was like, man, like, this op cannot get any worse. And so we eventually left, started walking back, you know, yelling out, you know, Serge, Serge, nothing, Serge, nothing. You know, tried yelling a little louder, but then the Ukrainians looked back at me and they're like, you know, quiet, like, not so loud, not so loud, you know. And we were just making progress down the road. Serge, nothing. Serge, nothing. And eventually I could actually see Lubomynka. It was still a somewhat intact building. One of the few that was actually recognizable. And as we started getting closer, it was like my heart just started sinking more and more towards like, fuck, man. Like, Serge is probably dead, and he's probably another guy that his body is somewhere and we have no idea where it is. And we make the turn to start walking to the entrance of Lubomynka, and just, I don't know, for whatever reason, I was like, you know, I'll try one more time. And I yelled Serge, and I just hear like a, yeah. I was like, fuck was that? Serge! And then just probably like 20 meters off to our left, I see like this head poke out. And he's like, yeah. And it was like, bro, what the fuck? You know, it's like, Serge! You know, it's just like suddenly like this kind of like morale boost, like, he's fucking alive, like, thank God. I had Tigger on my shoulder, you know, helping him walk, but like as soon as I saw Serge, it's like, Tigger, you gotta walk the rest of the way, man, you'll make it, like we're pretty much right there. And just kind of pushed him off and started like hobbling over to Serge, like, oh, you know, Serge, man, like, what the fuck, bro, like, you're missing, man. He's like, yeah, like, where the fuck's the position? It's like, it's right fucking here, man, like, you're like 20 meters from it. And it's like, oh shit. And so fucking hugged it out real quick and then got the fuck in, you know, because obviously don't want to hang outside too long. We got into Lubomynka, and shockingly, Russ was there. I was like, damn, bro, like, you're still here? Like, fuck, man. Like, dude, like, he was legit, like, you know, having a hard time breathing. I think he was coughing up blood. I don't remember, you know, but it's like, fuck, man, like, you still haven't been evacuated. I was like, nah. I was like, shit, man, like, times are rough. So once we all got consolidated there, we're essentially waiting for the evacuation team to help us get from this position to the last position we needed to get get evacuated. So we pretty much looked over everyone again. This was actually a position that the Ukrainians had a couple medics at. So they did their once over on Tigger. They did once over on Horse, you know, make sure all was still good. And then once the Ukrainians were ready to move, we were ready to move. We went up from the basement, and the lead Ukrainian poked his head out and, you know, looking up at the sky, seeing, it's like, okay, no drones, okay, all is good, davai. The problem was that the exit was, again, it was a bit elevated, and then it was just rubble down. And so it wasn't like you could leave this building and then quickly just start walking. You had to get down this pile of rubble. For me personally, just being exhausted and, you know, carrying the extra weight of the extra kit that I was carrying from Ethan and Soresh, and then having, you know, multiple guys wounded, there was nothing fast about the process. We started hobbling down, trying to get through all this rubble, rolling ankles left and right, and then the Ukrainians in front just start yelling, and you could just hear them saying, like, drone, drone, and it's like everyone's just turning around and trying to run back in. And you could start to hear a drone getting closer and closer, and it's like, oh, fuck, like, that's a drone. And so we all had to run in, wait for a bit, 10-15 minutes, and then go back up. And this went on for about 3 or 4 times. And then eventually it was, we went out and we got about halfway to the street, and just, I don't know. This drone just, I swear, appeared out of nowhere. Just remember, it's like guys are really flipping out and look up and there's a drone just right there. I was like, well, yeah, we're fucked. I'm still helping Tigger at this point, and so we're both trying to get out this rubble pile, and, you know, I have his arm around my shoulder, and I look up and the drone is directly above us, and I was like, well, this isn't a good place to be. And we were only like halfway up the rubble pile, and so I took Tigger and just pushed him up toward the entrance to this building and tried to, like, push him into the hole, and went the opposite way to try and basically get distance between us so that if a grenade did fall, it wouldn't get both of us. But because he had his wound, I wanted to try and get him back into the position at least. And I pushed him up, turned, took one step, and tripped. And just the whole way down, just fuck me. And just face plant into this rubble. And as soon as I, you know, face planted, I'm just shitting bricks. Just like, I'm gonna die. I start to get myself up, and just as, like, I barely got my face off the ground, an explosion like probably like a meter from my face, maybe 2, I don't know. It just literally right next to my face just goes off, and just, I don't know. Fate? Luck? What is it? It's just, I don't know. But as soon as that explosion went off, it was just the quickest I ever got on my feet, and just booked it back into the building. And all I could think of was like, maybe it was just one brick that was maybe tall, just tall enough that it deflected some of the blast, or maybe because it was like a shitty VOG round or something, that it didn't have so much explosive velocity behind it. I don't know. Yeah, at that point I was like, look, we've tried 4 or 5 times. Like they've clearly got the beat on us, and we cannot move here. And it was gonna be daylight soon, so I was like, we're just gonna have to chill here for the day, and try again tomorrow night. There was actually, just before daylight, a Ukrainian team had come up from the final position we had to get to, because they had some of their own wounded that they had to evacuate. And we were talking with them and trying to come up with a plan, because at this point we're probably 15 dudes all trying to move wounded back. And moving around with that many guys, it's just, you're asking for the massacres to happen. And so the Ukrainians, they're like, look, we'll take 2 of your guys, but that is all we can take, because we need to try and stay as small of a group as possible. So pick 2 and we'll take them, but that's all we can take. And me and Serge are talking, we're trying to discuss it. It's like, well, Russ is definitely the worst. Horse can at least move on his own, so maybe they're the 2. And then the Ukrainians started telling us, like, but look, if this is the plan that you guys decide, you're not going to have a ground guide for you tomorrow night. So you guys are going to have to make it back on your own. And I was telling Serge, like, look, man, that's fine. Like, I've been up and down this street so many times now. Like, I'll be able to, I can get us back. And he's like, are you sure? I was like, trust me, man, I can get us back. And so I was like, all right, so that's what we'll do. Russ, Horse, you guys will go back with the Ukrainians now. We'll take Tigger the next night. So that's what they did. They got Russ and Horse out. Didn't hear anything, no explosions. So I was like, all right, fingers crossed, everything seems good. They probably made it back. And so we just hunkered down there for the day. Slept as much as we could, tried to eat what we could. And then by the time the next night came, we started getting ready. It's like, all right, Tigger, let's go, man. Serge is ready, I'm ready. The Ukrainian medic gave some pain meds to Tigger real quick, just to try and ease with the pain and make the move a little bit quicker. Once we were all good to go, we got up. This time I poked my head out and looking around. It's like, well, I don't see any drones. I don't hear any drones. Fuck it, let's go. Made our way down the rubble pile, started going alongside the building, heading toward the main road. Made it to the main road, cut a left to go west. Started walking, and every once in a while turning, looking for drones, nothing. Serge is asking me, like, hey, see any drones? Like, no, no drones. And what I didn't tell him at the time is that I don't know if it was one of the times that I busted my ass or if it was from one of the explosions, I don't know. But as we're going back, I'm trying to take my AK off a safe, and the lever was fucking stuck, and I'm sitting there just wedging it, like just trying to force it down, but it got bent to shit, and like it was just completely fucked. I don't know what happened to it. I'm just sitting there like trying to get it on fire. It's like, oh, please don't let there be a drone show up right now, because I can't even fucking shoot my AK. And but like I'm keeping it to myself, don't want to worry the guys. And eventually get to an intersection, and it's like, yo, this shit looks different this time. Like, I don't know why, but I'm pretty sure this is the intersection. So I'm just going to go right. And it was like, all right, this is the intersection. You know, this is our turn. Let's go. Just keep following me. And we're going. And initially it's like, I'm thinking to myself like, man, did I make the right fucking turn? Like, I don't recognize anything. I'm kind of talking to myself softly because I'm ahead of Serge and Tigger. And it's like, fuck, is this the right way? And then Serge is like, what? And it's like, nothing, man. We're good. Just keep going. Like, yep, this is the right way. It's like, fuck, is this the right way, man? It's like, shit. I'm like, I don't recognize this billboard. Where the fuck does this billboard come from? And it's like, oh, man. And then eventually I see a burnt out car just completely rusted over. And it's like, yo, I recognize this car. I was like, oh, yo, guys, we're good. This is the right direction. We're almost there. And so it's like, oh, thank God. And so it's like, man, I just want to end it. It's like, yo, Tigger, can you move faster? You know, like, we're almost there, I promise. It's like just another 100 meters up the road. And I was like, okay, yeah. So we started, you know, jogging a little bit, you know, and Serge is, you know, helping Tigger to the best of his ability. Kind of make like a small curve. And it was like, yep, almost there. You know, 50 meters, 20 meters. All right, there's the gate. Turn into the gate. Go down the stairs. It's another basement. And met up with the Ukrainian. He was kind of like the area commander of like this little sector of the front. And he spoke a little bit of English, and he was actually one of the guys that took Russ on horseback, you know, so it was like good to see him, shake his hand. And, you know, he made us a little meat and cheese plate for us to snack on while we waited for the Humvee. And, you know, we weren't sure how long it was going to be, so like we're just sitting there. He made us a coffee as well, and it's like, bro, like, you know, this was a piece of civilization that just felt so good to get back to. And it's like, you know, and it's like, yo, the Humvee's almost here, and you could kind of hear it off in the faint distance, and it was like, oh shit. And so we just started stuffing our face with the meat and cheese, like, all right, let's go. Freaking got Tigger up, and made it to the Humvee, and got everyone on. And just for me personally, that ride back was just kind of just, it was quite the reflection for me, knowing that Keito, Taylor were still out there. You know, no idea what was going on with them. Ethan and Serge being a mechanic, not knowing if their bodies have been retrieved. The fact that we couldn't find Patrick, you know, were the Ukrainians able to locate him? Just thinking about all that on the ride back was just kind of, part of me's happy, you know, I'm out, but then a part of me is like, you know, a little bit of conflict, because it's like you're coming back, but knowing that you got guys that are still out there, it's, you know, you can't help but feel guilt, especially because, you know, after Gimli, Stremski, you know, and now possibly Soresh, Ethan, Patrick, it was, you know, obviously it's not something that you want to make a trend. So, but eventually made it back to the stop point. Tigger and Serge got put on the ambulance, taken to the hospital, and I got taken back to base. And just getting on base was just like, you know, a sign of relief, but also just looking back at everything was just, yeah. And so I just wanted to sit down, just kind of chill. And it was probably a couple hours later that we got told that Keito had been killed. And, you know, and possibly Taylor. And at that moment, it was just, yeah, guilt kicked in, anger, a lot of anger kicked in. You know, two newer guys, you know, that were out there. you know, first stop for them, essentially. And now suddenly hearing that they've been killed, it was like, man, like fuck.
And I lost consciousness and I wake up next early morning, maybe 5 something. Looks like sky is blue color and also it's very smoky by bunker explosive. I saw many Russian soldiers, 20, 30, maybe more. I mean, my hiding places, behind me 2 meter or 3 meter, 2 Russian guys is there. I can't understand Russian language, but I can hear them conversation something. Oh my goodness, so I have to be really quiet and then like just quiet and then just waiting. To be honest, I'm thinking about myself because if I got arrested by you, I got captured by Russian. Absolutely, I'm gonna be fucked up. So it's better idea. It's myself. Many times I lost my conscience because so cold and also I lost a lot of blood. Lost conscience, wake up, keep going. It's very like always like this. And then one guy asked me, hello, hello. And then I thought they are Ukrainian. So I said, American, I am American. And then one other guy is very charging handle and like a charging weapon. Yeah, charging weapon. And then, oh my goodness, maybe they are not Ukrainian. And then, but it's very luckily Ukrainian start to the massive attack in our area, like RPG, AGS, and then heavy machine gun something. And then they have to like counter fire, of course. And then, oh my goodness, I have to evacuate from here ASAP. And then, yeah, they are Russian. So I started to evacuate again. And then drone is dropped the grenade. Kaching! Oh, I'm dead. Bye bye, Minna. Bye bye, everybody. But I don't know why. The grenade is not directly hit around here, but just many shrapnel. So, and then I have to back to more far position by crawl. Yeah, finally I could arrive to the Granade. And then, of course, Ukrainian soldier can't understand the situation. Looks like fucking zombie. But I just said, I'm American. And then they are looks like fucking confused, but
Why were you saying you were American?
because American is easier. It's pretty easier. Yeah. And also, I knew like Russia has Asian people. So America is easier. Yeah.
We got a call. One of the Ukrainians sent me a message. He's like, hey, is this one of your guys? I was like, fuck, yeah, it is. But yeah, like he lived through it. Like, don't know how. Just mad props to him. And while that was going on the south side, where I had Taylor and the Ukrainians at Kalin, they had gotten assaulted directly by probably like a force of like 20, 25 Russians. Taylor made the decision along with the Ukrainians in that position to leave the bunker and engage the Russians. And they basically fought off the Russian infantry that was assaulting them. When they were getting back inside to the bunker that they had to crawl in, Taylor was hit with a FPV. And then he was hit with one initially. He crawled back into the hole and got hit right as he was crawling in. They provided like medical aid and everything in Kalin, but he ultimately succumbed to his wounds as well. we ended up, this was probably late afternoon on like day 4 of this operation. So we managed to hold the positions. We got guys brought back up. The Ukrainians took back Mechanic. They took back Gypsy again. And basically we ended up getting the rest of our guys out. Like we were able to get Taylor out. We still weren't able to get Ethan out of the position though, because they had collapsed at that point. But that was just, it wasn't a very good operation. It was a trench defense. Trench defending is really hard. Well, bunker defending is really hard. You got to understand, like, when the Russians are going to take an area, they just level everything. So it's nothing but artillery, nonstop, grad rocket, aerial bombing. You know, you just can't really defend against it. And at the time this was going on, the U.S. government, hadn't passed the Ukraine aid bill. And, we were running, at that point, the 59th maybe had, 10 artillery shells a day that they could use. Like, it was running out. We were running out of everything. The fighting back against the counteroffensive was, it was just brutal. It was small arms going, like, if you can't counter enemy artillery, it just chews at the defense. Like, all they're going to do is lob rounds one after another, because, like, if you can't suppress their artillery, you're fucked. And because the U.S. took so long on the aid bill, we weren't able to, we lost a lot of guys because of politics, to put it lightly. A lot of guys who should still be here, but that's part of war, sadly, but yeah, that's about it.